Bienvenidos. My name is John David Arnold. I'm the CEO and founder of Project PEP. Aboard this bus in 1967, the Bracero migrant workers in Cerrito, Arizona had a vision for a better way of life. This video presentation of projects both past and present are a testimony of the dreams that have become a reality. You'll see services to the developmentally disabled, the handicapped, microbusiness loans, counseling, charter schools for the youth, and many more. We look at these projects to carry these rural communities into the 21st century under the motto of Sí Se Puede. I hope you enjoy this particular presentation and it'll be an inspiration to you to help join in support of the effort of Project PEP.
Imagine facing the difficult teenage years as an unwed mother with no parents to guide you. Alicia Thomas, a member of the class of 2000 in Somerton, Arizona, shows us what that life is like in her video diary.
Kokopah is my nation, my tribe. There's the home I used to be in. I'm going to show you what it's like. My name is Alicia Thomas and I'm 17 years old. Drugs is one of the things that happened in my family. Crystal, marijuana, heroin. Most of my family members in the back there. First we lost the home. My dad was living in a car. They were backstabbing each other. They would say mean things about each other, get mad about each other, steal money from each other, and we were all family. Here we are, Child and Family Services. This is where I live. The one thing I like about this group home is that they work on things that I need to work on, my independent living skills, how to survive outside in the real world. The first time I was here, I was 14 years old and pregnant. Oh, the beautiful hands. Here's my bedroom. My son. I call him my little angel. You know, it's just been me and him ever since he was born.
Go get your mop.
I know every day that I wake up, I have someone looking up at me, and I need to set a good example who keeps me in line. Every day that I look at him, I know I have to keep going. I can't just quit. I have to go. Keep going. I just got back a little while ago. I went to a job interview, got the job. I'm going to be working now as a waitress. Very happy. Seems like a lot of things are going good for me these past few days. I mean, I got to do this and get a job.
The team that keeps you in touch. Good Morning Tucson.
Well, kids all the time get an education. You hear that? Get an education. It's your ticket to the future. But what happens when a youngster just can't function in a regular school setting?
Take for example, a mother, a teenage mother. She may be faced with caring for her baby, working to support that baby, and still trying to get to school and do homework.
It's pretty obvious which one of these things will go first.
It certainly is, JP. But as we see in this Children's First report, education doesn't have to be pushed aside if it's offered in a non-traditional setting. La Tortuga. It means tortoise in Spanish. This old school bus may have slowed down and retired, but the portable classroom it brought to rural Arizona has not.
We started in 1967. That's how we got the name Portable Practical Educational Preparation. And we used to go to the farm labor camps where the people lived and worked. And we're still doing that today.
Only now, instead of using the highway to bring the classroom to rural areas, John Arnold uses the information highway. His organization, called PEP, has computers set up in Tucson and 6 other southern Arizona communities. Even laptops are waiting for students who want to finish their high school education.
They can access through a local telephone number and they can come right back to the campus. They can take their tests. Or also we can send them packets where they can do home studies and they can do studies. They don't have to have a computer and just mail back their lessons.
It's not for everybody, but then again, neither is this kind of school. Some kids, for example, teenage parents or migrant farm workers or even troublemakers, just can't stay in a traditional class. At PEP, the slate is wiped clean.
It's not a history that's going to follow them into this school. So PEP kind of sees this as a new start for those students. who want to get a fresh start at trying to get a public education.
And for Vanessa Varela, the first student to sign up for PEP High School, that's refreshing. She used to goof around a lot in high school. Here, on her own schedule and at her own pace, she'll be getting down to business.
All I can say is it's different. It's going to be very different for me.
But hopefully, it'll be just what she needs to succeed.
PEP is one of 2 so-called charter schools in the Tucson area. The charter school program is brand new in Arizona.
It sure is. Tax dollars actually fund those charter schools to provide alternative education to kids who can't make it in that traditional setting.
This is the CBS Evening News. Where does an entrepreneur go when their company is too small for the Small Business Administration? There's a new and growing breed of bankers who specialize in very small loans. And that's our Sunday cover. Microbankers helping out fledgling companies.
Because we have no credit, I used to pay everything cash. I didn't know I was going to need credit later on.
Sooner or later, most businesses need to borrow money. But if a business is low income, small, risky, don't count on the banks.
It's very hard on the banks because they don't loan the small business.
Bank instead on a new attitude from nonprofit lenders.
If somebody owns a bakery, a small bakery, and they want to take a loan, we'll take an oven as collateral.
Sweeping into communities from Queens, New York to border towns in southern Arizona, it's called micro-enterprise development. Grants from private foundations and money from banks and government agencies are loaned out to struggling poor and minority small business owners. They are called microloans because customers borrow anywhere from $500 to $1,500 on average. Business too small for banks to turn a profit on.
The Reagan administration started microenterprise in the third world, in the international arena, and there's some remarkable models. The Grameen Bank of Bangladesh, which many people know, and others who've reached, millions of very small-scale entrepreneurs. But we have tended to ignore some of the same problems in our own country.
President Clinton helped set up a micro-lending operation, the Good Faith Fund, in his home state of Arkansas, and is now poised to announce a similar program to boost lending in poor communities nationwide.
There are parts of America which by any economic analysis could be classified as third world countries. That's a disgrace.
Micro, a lending group based in Tucson, Arizona, is making a difference in communities like Nogales, just north of the Mexican border. After working for other mechanics for 10 years, Danny Renteria wanted to open his own shop.
The banks wouldn't lend me money because I was barely starting my business. But Micro gave me a hand, and that's how I got started.
6 years later, Renteria has 5 mechanics working for him. And Lupita Carrasco's La Cabana restaurant is just one of several new businesses along Nogales Main Highway that got started with Micro. The cost of borrowing from micro lenders isn't cheap. Micro is charging its customers 13%. Action New York, 16%. But perhaps, surprisingly, default rates across the country average less than 3%.
We're showing that poor people will pay for their development.
A local group called Project PEP is helping the mentally disabled. Experts have found integrating the disabled into society helps them progress. And so far, Project PEP seems to be a success. Kathy Ryan explains.
Most of these folks have been doing their jobs for years. Then there are the assistants. 4 very special assistants. They're mentally retarded. They're clients of Project PEP, an organization that mainstreams the disabled into society. Although they're adults, they function on the average more like an 8-year-old.
Silky, she's a doll. She works hard. She's a person that we just leave alone and tell her what she needs to do, and she accomplishes that.
Steve is proud of his work. He's very good at it, too. For a few years, he's been here at La Posada, a retirement community, stocking shelves. The Project PEP clients work about 20 hours a week here. They don't get paid as much as the other workers, but it's more than enough to make them proud.
Oh, yeah. This is usually the focal point in their life. They love it. They just love it.
Richard never used to talk much before he started working here. Lately, he's become much more comfortable around people, actually initiating conversations at times. Then there's Robert.
Robert, he's he entertains us always. He's got his little guitar that he pretends he has, and he sings the Spanish songs.
There are a lot of cooks in this kitchen, but they always come up with the perfect recipe. Kathy Ryan, TV4 Eyewitness News.
There are many programs for disabled children, but the older population is often forgotten. As Laura Bennett tells us, Project PPEP, a local service organization, runs a unique home, so older disabled residents have a place to call home.
All right. Good for you, Johnny. Good for you.
Every accomplishment, no matter how small, is rewarded.
Good job, John. Good job.
Meet the residents of the Santo Thomas House. 6 men ranging from the ages of 43 to 71 live here, and each one has a very distinctive personality. Staff members help the men deal with their disabilities with individualized attention.
What color's that? Green, right. You want to put the green one in? Okay. Yes, Ron's favorite is to work with puzzles. Ron did this all by himself up until this point. He fits the pieces together really well.
Some of the men were institutionalized when they were younger because of their disabilities. Others stayed at home until their parents could no longer care for them.
These guys are learning stuff every day, just like me and you. There's new experiences for them. We go places that they haven't been, and I find that in my own life, it's the same way.
That's what you do. Ron, you're just that's it. You're doing fine. Can you eat that? Yeah, just
the men make the decisions here. They have the choice of doing whatever they want to because this is truly their home.
That's a reward. Thank you. Thank you for helping. Okay, all righty. You want to help a little bit more? You want to do a little bit more? How about this? Okay. Let's pick up the board. You got to get tomatoes.
They're capable of doing a lot of things themselves. And sometimes they don't desire. You just met Dan and said, no, I don't want to. Okay.
And there's always time for fun. Johnny G is proud to show off his car collection. Counselors say more programs such as this one are needed across the country for the older mentally disabled. They say it's important that this special population isn't ignored because there's no boundaries to what they can achieve. Laura Bennett, KOLD, News Center 13.
From KGON 9, Tucson.
The arrest of 2 teenagers has shocked the Marana area. The 2 are charged with first-degree murder and the shooting death of a convenience store clerk. The teens are from the small town of Rillito, and Sal Quijada went there.
Rillito lies in the shadows of Arizona Portland Cement's plant right next to the interstate. It is predominantly a black community, generations of which have struggled with poverty.
They didn't have any streets, public roads, no sewage lines, no water, no nothing.
Arthur Campbell has lived here since the early 60s. One of his sons made it to the National Football League in the early 70s. Sonny Campbell was a tailback and tight end for Atlanta and Detroit. But there are signs in Rillito of outside influences. The gang culture from Los Angeles, which is blamed for the arrest of 2 local teens.
And I say, you let this be a lesson to you because you can walk out and get involved with the wrong people, and when you find yourself, your life is destroyed, you know.
It used to be that seasonal farm work employed many of the 300 residents of Rillito. However, over the years, increased mechanization on the farm has wiped out many of those jobs, leaving the residents with fewer jobs and less hope.
They don't have no jobs and nothing for the kids to do here either. And I think that would help a whole lot.
William Brown has been married 55 of his 75 years to the same woman. He says the values important to his generation are jeopardized by the lack of opportunity for the younger generation, something which concerns a rural advocacy group.
The Pima Association of Governments has a social service committee which allocates dollars and has over the last 10 years really neglected the rural areas in counseling and substance abuse.
The Rillito Community and Daycare Center continues to nurture the future generations, not old enough to understand the shock their parents feel after the teens' arrest. Sal Quijada, 9 News.
From KOLD, News Center 13.
Farms in southern Arizona are becoming rare, and that means people who used to work on farms now look for jobs. But many of those displaced workers are finding jobs here in Tucson, all because of a little push from a service called Project PEP.
These mechanics are PEP graduates. PEP is a job training program right here in Tucson helping people who have lost work. This service station provides some of that work.
1, 2, 3.
Many of the people PEP is helping used to be farm workers, but with agriculture disappearing in Pima County, people like these lose their jobs. Now PEP is putting them to work as mechanics and cashiers. People like Ben Nunez, whose mother works on the farm, he lost his job with a small Tucson machine shop.
Well, it gives us an opportunity to get ahead of ourselves, you know, not having to go to a job and start off with the basic things. That way we'll always just, you know, come out in front and not have to go through the whole process again.
Anything else? Nope, that's it. Through PEP, Nunez and others like him can go right to work. The U.S. Labor Department pays their salaries while they train.
Working behind the counter of a convenience store or a gas station may not be everyone's idea of a lifelong dream, but for someone who's been thrown out of work, it's a step in the right direction.
And PEP's director, John Arnold, says that step is sometimes all it takes to help them get a college degree or find more permanent jobs.
Our people find their way up the work chain, but we have to instill into people that first they can do it. And once they believe they can do it and have that job experience.
And for people who had nowhere to turn not long ago, they now have a reason to get up in the morning.
Floodwaters have begun receding along the Gila River in southwestern Arizona. The river crested yesterday. Now residents of the produce-rich area face thousands of acres of flooded fields and dozens of ruined homes. The flooding also has left Yuma County split in half by bridge closures. Growers say the damage to fields and irrigation systems will be long-lasting. A truckload of food, clean clothing, and personal items is en route to Yuma thanks to Project PEP of Tucson. The organization was founded 25 years ago to serve the needs of migrant and seasonal farm workers in an old bus called La Tortuga. The chief executive is John Arnold.
5,200 that have been evacuated to this point over there. We're trying to target those who are most need, being the migrant and seasonal farm workers. They're the ones who are most affected by employment and also are probably the least able because of limited resources to cope with a disaster.
Just trying to get that.
The project is also getting 7,700 pounds of food from the Community Food Bank for a truckload next week.
Most of us have used pesticides, usually to kill bugs or weeds in our garden, but one segment of the population is exposed to pesticides on a regular basis, the farmers and farm workers. Cases of illness and birth defects from long-term exposure, as well as short-term sickness, were not rare in past decades, but a new law aims to educate farm workers on the perils of pesticides. Tonight, Ted Robbins looks at pesticide education and what it may do for the people who grow our crops.
This is the time of year when Arizona's pecan orchards and its cotton fields bear the fruit of the region's long growing season.
This is harvest time. It's not the time of year for pesticide spraying. That's done in the spring and summer. But this is the time of year when farm workers need to be trained in the proper use and handling of pesticides.
Have any of you ever had any training before in pesticide?
As of January 1st, federal law requires farm workers take classes like this one. It's being conducted by Project PEP, a nonprofit organization with a grant to teach classes all over Arizona.
Do you ever worry about what the effects of pesticides on yourself or your family?
Sometimes I do, yeah, because they're using pretty strong stuff, you know, and you never know when the kids are going to get infected or something.
Have you ever seen any harm?
No, I haven't seen no harm of that yet.
We have a life expectancy of 47 years among farm workers, the highest mortality rate in the nation. It all comes because the environment they live in and around farm labor camps, and then they work in the field. So all of it is an environment where there is pesticide and pesticide contamination practically 24 hours a day.
John Arnold, now head of Project PEP, served on the National Pesticide Task Force. That was 14 years ago. It took that long for the Environmental Protection Agency to get enough data so worker protection rules could be stiffened to include pesticides.
From Southern Arizona's news station, this is News 13 at 5.
A rural self-help housing program is moving into the city. Today, ground was broken for one of 10 new homes sponsored by the United Housing and Educational Development Corporation. Banks and government agencies work together to provide the housing for working families that otherwise could not afford a house in Tucson. The families also have a huge stake in their new homes.
These particular families will work approximately 30%, contribute 30% of labor on their house to help reduce the cost of the loan to them. Their estimated payments are averaging between $350 to $400.
The Rural Self-Help Agency Project PEP also contributes to the new urban housing program. Plans are being made to build several houses for several more Tucson area families.
You don't give people self-esteem. They earn it, and they develop by them mastering a skill. There's nothing greater about having self-esteem than to be able to master a calculation. The only thing I ever wanted to be was to be the switchman. That was the only thing that I saw. I didn't know that the world was an oyster. America is a land of opportunity, and our kids have to know that.
Gracias for sharing in the dreams of the first braceros, which were aboard La Tortuga in 1967. May their vision be an inspiration to you to also believe in Sí Se Puede. If you wish to explore PEP's roots in detail, please consult our internet address at ppepRuralInst.org.
En la bamba, señores, la melodía que nos pone en el alma. Que nos pone en el alma luz y alegría. Y arriba, y arriba. Ay, arriba, y arriba, y arriba. Iré, yo no soy marinero. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré.
Hoy les canto la bamba. Hoy les canto la bamba con sentimiento. Melodía que naciera. Melodía que naciera en el sotavento. Y arriba, y arriba. Ay, arriba, y arriba, y arriba iré. Yo no soy marinero. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré.
Cuando canto la bamba me siento ufano porque sé que es el himno, veracruzano. Arriba y arriba, arriba y arriba y arriba iré. Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Una vez que te dije que eras bonita, se te puso la cara coloradita y arriba y arriba. Ay, arriba y arriba y arriba irán. Yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán.
Solo Veracruz es bello.
Yo no soy marinero, por ti seré, por ti